And we are live. Welcome to the SEO and AI news for week 50. So that was last week. I've gathered all the interesting articles, analysis, news from last week. So let's jump right into it, shall we? My name is Frederick Dross, by the way. Yeah, let's just jump right into it here. We've got Google December core update still rolling out. So there's not much information here, but we might expect some volatility. Every year, Google seems to come out with a core update around December, and I feel like it's a post Black Friday update. There is another article which is actually not on my list here, where Google has confirmed they're doing smaller core updates continuously. I think this is something we always have known, so I feel like every year they come out with this statement just to make sure we remember. So yeah, anyway, that's good to know. Follow, like, and subscribe, and once we get some more information around this core update, I will of course share the most important insights with you. Next up here, Google is announcing that they will have MCP, so Model Context Protocol, basically like a server that AI agents can use different services. So they will have this MCP support for Google services, we're connecting right now through APIs. I think here what I like is Google Maps, BigQuery as well. So there's a bunch of these things, which is really interesting if you're building tools, etc. So just a bit on the nerdy side here, but still relevant for consultants. Here is quite an interesting thread from David McSweeney on why. So we've seen, I think we talked about this last video, that the fan out queries are becoming way longer in ChatGPT when it does a web search or all these types of searches. And it's interesting. My takeaway from this thread here is that it's doing this to gather more different intents with specialized content. And I think what he's suggesting here as well, which I agree with, is how ChatGPT is relying a lot on indexing retrieval systems. So Google, for example, right? So I think that's, again, talking about how ChatGPT is really a layer, but it still has to be able to be a crawler and a search engine. So it's just another layer of displaying information when it comes to these types of queries, at least. Not all the queries, but yeah, there we go. Very good thread here, a good follow, David McSweeney. We have another article from Barry Schwartz at SEO Roundtable here, and this one is quite interesting. Let me show you. Google Web Guide to expand to All tab. I think you still have to opt in, but it's moved beyond the Web tab, and it's now part of the All tab. And again, I really like Web Guide. It kind of summarizes the SERPs, which I think is what AI is really good for, another layer on top of search. Don't just plagiarize our content, Google, just give us a better version of search, right? Like, I don't want you to just answer every question and, yeah, you're plagiarizing our content. So kind of move away from that, please. And actually, that's a really good lead into the next article here, which is another one from Roundtable, how Google AI mode links are updated and they add a bit more contextual introduction. So see if we can look at this. I like this. We're heading in the right direction. What we want from AI mode, I think, as SEOs, is really don't just plagiarize a bunch of articles and then answer the query. Maybe try and summarize the answer, but then also give directions to different articles. For example, let's say you're using 5 articles to create this AI mode content. Well, show me those 5 articles and why each of them are unique compared to one another. This one has unique pictures. This one is written by a professional, blah, blah, blah. So give me those insights on why I should be clicking and reading further, because that is your job, right? And I think this is one step towards the correct direction. So I guess that's good. We got to celebrate the small wins with Google. But yeah, last week we also looked at how the sources in AI mode were scrollable, and like we can see they're actually adding logos, sometimes names of the articles being used. So we're, again, going in the right direction, I feel. Great. Another really good blog post here from Ahrefs, from, well, Matusz Makiewicz. Sorry, might mispronounce that name, but I do know that it's Polish, or at least looks very Polish. He did a test on misinformation in AI models, and it's a really, really good one. Again, just read through it. I think it's important that we all read. This is a must read for any marketeer right now. What stood away, what stood strong for me in this article is how unofficial sources like Reddit, Medium forums are trusted a lot by AIs. So we really need, especially if we see misinformation, we really need to be present there and be corrective. which basically comes down to the brand narrative control in AI search is becoming a PR problem as much as an SEO problem. Like we're actually in a place where we have to, which is I think is a good case for monitoring AI outputs and brand mentions and figuring out, well, what is being said about us, and is it true, and how can we go in and actually steer the conversation, not spam, but just make sure that the truth comes out instead of a false narrative that might be hurtful, right? Even if it's a positive narrative, if it's false and you end up on your brand and you realize, hey, wait, you don't sell the product that was mentioned in the AI, that's still a bad experience. So one thing that is easy to do is with several articles and studies around how, I think that was 3 videos ago, we talked about how structured data helps AI models ground information. So using structured data on a lot of things. FAQs, they don't all respect them. It was here, official FAQs help, but only some models consistently respect them. Others ignore them in favor of third-party content. So yeah, there's a lot of, I think we need to take a multi-channel approach to digital PR and steer the narrative correctly and really start monitoring these types of outputs as well, which is a good case for AI monitoring. Not every case is good, but yeah, this one is good. Another article here from Barry Schwartz from SEO Roundtable. This one is really important as well. Apparently, Google Shopping crawlers don't really wait for JavaScript to render. So well, to a certain extent, not like normal Google search. Well, Google search can render just fine. Let's not panic. But the Google Shopping one, so if you're relying on structured data, it needs to be in the source code. Do not render it with JavaScript. And I think that's an important notion here. And now we can actually link to a statement here. So shopping bots do not wait for JavaScript to render structured data. And of course, Google bot does that, like normal search does that. So don't worry about that. But I think that's a good distinction to have. So everyone check that. Yeah, let's look at Search Console. They're giving us social channels, which is quite interesting. Again, YouTube is Google owned. I'm not sure what other channels are, but quite interesting. And I think it helps summarize the value of impressions and clicks when adding social channels, and really maybe Search Console wants to move towards becoming more of a, PR tool instead of just pure SEO, an organic tool as it's always been. So whatever they're doing here, and again, this is traffic from Google anyway. So kind of, I think they also want to showcase and highlight the value of Google here. Again, we really want to be able to filter AI mode, web guide, and AI overviews. Please give us that, Google. But until then, this is quite a big update actually from Google. Next up, we've got, let's see here. Oh yes, there was been some changes to the OpenAI bots documentation. So go ahead, read that, especially if your website is trying to filter on specific OpenAI bots. If you've just opened up for all OpenAI and AI crawlers, maybe you're monitoring. If they're not excessively crawling your site or fetching it, you're good. But if you have very specific rules around different bots and perhaps crawl delays, perhaps you have like restrictions on go for OpenAI bots, go ahead and read this and update your restriction rules. What stood out here from this is that OpenAI crawls many sites more frequently than it sends referral traffic. So again, this is the value. We've had discussions with a few clients before when I worked at Precis, which I stopped a week ago. But again, the key here is how many requests are we getting? How much does it cost us? And are we getting the referral traffic back? And you can kind of do that measurement. But from the beginning, I would let crawlers and bots start using your site. And then you could, because then it gives you the data to measure if the value is there. If you just block them now, we don't really know what we're missing. And I don't think they excessively crawl your site, and I don't think they excessively fetch your site. And if they're doing a web search and want to check out your URLs, they should definitely be able to. Otherwise, they might not choose you for their synthesis of answers. So you kind of just, any web search query in ChatGPT, you might just be opting out of those entirely if you are too restrictive with your blocking. Finally, we've got Gianluca Fiorelli. I have to put the Italian accent every time I say his name here. Had a long conversation with Dawn Anderson about SEO. It was something it's kind of a webinar you could sign up to and listen into. But I didn't have the time. But there were some really good discussions around SEO and where it's heading. What stood out for me, and again, this should be read in full, watch the video as well. I like the idea that chunking here is becoming a confusing term, and people are, this is my stance and something I've shared on my YouTube channel here. chunking and over optimizing for AI and retrieval systems is dangerous, because what you need to focus on is your content good? Is it helping people? Is it answering the intent? And just over optimizing and chunking and using too many lists doesn't make the content better. And so you might get a little more retrieved, or might maybe a few more citations to ChatGPT, but then you might lose on normal search or some other user UX metrics. So we can look at, it feels like when I optimize for retrieval systems, I end up making the content better anyway, because I'm not over optimizing for retrieval. So yeah, I think that's my take, at least, on this. But I also like that they talk about GEO, AEO, LLMO, which that was a new one, are not new disciplines, but specializations within SEO. I agree with that. So very, very good. And then finally here, zero-click searches reflect query refinement and longer search journeys rather than the decline of search traffic. I like that a lot too. I think I agree with that. And I think here right now there's a big risk for SEOs as a profession. Again, we don't have a diploma for SEOs. There's no standardization, no certification that you're an official SEO. We don't have clear definitions, and I think there's a lot of snake oil salesmen right now where it's like GEO, AEO. I've seen agencies start where we're an AI optimization agency. In the background, hopefully, they're just SEOs that have specialized a little bit. But honestly, looking at the layer of AI search and what needs to be done, it's 95% classic SEO with a bit of extra things and to think about when it comes to LLMs. And honestly, that is what we should be selling, is good SEO. And SEO is search everywhere optimization. I don't remember who coined that, but I like it. And then underneath, we've got AI layers. So be careful with anyone saying, I'm a specialist in AI optimization without having any proven track record within SEO. That is a clear red flag. So I just want to warn people out there. But great video. So go watch that with a cup of coffee. That was it for today's news. That was week 50. There will soon be holidays. I'm not sure I'll be able to make a video. Maybe I'll publish it Sunday. I am traveling to Denmark to have Christmas with my family. But thanks for listening, everyone. Please like, please subscribe, comment if you want anything. And hopefully have a great Christmas, Happy New Year. And I'll see you, all you beautiful people, on the other side.